guys, welcome back to the Friday vlog where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, social media, pop culture, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. If this is your first time here to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning visitor and or subscriber, as well as those following on Alt Tech, thank you guys so very much for your continued support.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I was preparing the Friday vlog so you guys would be on the cutting edge of current events and what is going on in our society, of course, I saw Representative Democrat Joaquin Cruz talking about the events that happened at the Capitol, but more importantly, his discussion about President Trump suggesting that there was nefarious activity in our election, which we already know did happen. But suffices to say here, because this week they are talking about the impeachment. I did see this article from the New York Times on Tim Pool's video the other day. Critical moments in the Capitol siege. I won't spend too much time here, but suffice to say, this particular breakdown illustrates that Trump was still speaking when the rioters breached the first barricade in the Capitol. It's interesting that they went with rioters, of course, because they've been using the language of suggesting that it was an insurrection and sedition, of course, because we are in a political battle, a bipartisan tribal war, a political persecution that's going on here. So language is very important, and trying to control the language is equally as important. So you can see this breakdown of the critical moments in the Capitol siege. But of course, Trump was still speaking at the time, and it was a selective group of people. It was a very well-edited video that they released on Tuesday. If you guys were watching any of the events, most people have completely tuned out. But suffices to say, a part of what Cruz was talking about in a huge video from last Friday, thank you guys so very much for the supports, the shares, and the likes. I will link that video up here in the top right-hand corner if you guys did not catch the video where we talked about the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. This outlines by Molly Ball herself from the Times in 6,680 words, detailed outline of the fact that the election was manipulated or rigged, as the president kept saying. It would be appropriate to say that if we were to borrow the language from the left, we could say that the election was rigged. If you guys haven't had a chance to read the 6,680 word article, I would certainly encourage you to do so. As many people that came to me regarding this article saying, well, did you read the context? Did you get the context? Yes, I most certainly got the context, and the emphasis of the context, whether taken out of context. See, anytime the left disagrees with something that is so accurate, that is so factual, they have to say, well, it was taken out of context. No, it was not. When they say that, what they mean is their interpretation of the actual facts doesn't really correlate to their particular narrative, so they have to say that it was taken out of context. No, if you read the entire article, which I did, the emphasis is specifically on the fact that the election was rigged. But we move on to the political persecution that is going on, because as you guys know, if you have been following this channel for the last 3 years, you know that it isn't just about censoring someone or getting them banned off of social media. It is about the evisceration of anyone who does not agree with or follow the progressive narrative, the hard left, or even now the establishment. As we see here, the political persecution continues. Marjorie Taylor Greene stripped of her House of Representative committee roles. So in reality, though, she's just being stripped from two of the different committees that she belonged to. But because the Democrats control the House and the Senate, this whole thing is really more show, which is what the impeachment is too, a floor show, a just political theater that's going on. But for the establishment to appear that they are large and back in charge, then of course they have to go through these motions of punishing anybody that does not agree with them, does not fall in line, it is not in line step and part of the status quo. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are now involved in because of the nefarious activity that led up to the mail-in ballot situation, which ultimately was allowing the establishment to put in and get their surrogate Joe Biden in place. Joe Biden is a whole other conversation. That's a whole other discussion unto itself. But suffice it to say, so Marjorie Taylor Greene stripped of her U.S. House of Representative committee roles because she is being politically persecuted. Now, as we shift gears onto how this can overflow into things, we see and have seen from the UK this continuing censorship, or what they call hate speech. Hate speech would never work in the United States because the tribes who fight each other every day on the Twitter sphere, the Twitterazzi, the blue checkmark groups of people, they would just be canceling. We would have to have entire police departments, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of police officers, net nannies, hall monitors throughout the United States just to deal with people who feel offended by something someone said. I can't even begin to imagine being able to pursue everything that goes on the internet here in the States, particularly where millions upon millions of Americans are on social media. So we see here, The Sun, court date, Glasgow man charged over sending offensive tweet about Captain Sir Tom Moore's death. Well, it is quite shameful, I suppose, for a World War II history. But is it not ironic that Sir Tom Moore, who fought in the WW2 war, would not have been doing so for freedom, to be able to secure freedom, to ensure that the people of the United Kingdom had the ability to speak freely, to express themselves, even if they were in disagreement of the government or even in disagreement of an individual? Wow, that's some serious protection. I guess we could say that the fairness police does exist in the UK because it's not limited to a certain group of selected individuals, right? But anyway, I won't go full into the article. If you guys do want to check it out, you can read it below. But apparently an individual said something about the World War II veteran here that someone took offense to. I don't even know if they mentioned what he said because, of course, they don't want to say it. Outside of the man 35 was arrested by cops in connection with a vile slur against the war hero on social media. So Captain Tom passed away on Tuesday, February the 2nd after a battle with... Oh, well, there you go. And I just said the word, so I'll have to edit that out. Having first fallen ill with pneumonia, the Second World War II veteran raised more than 33 million pounds for his NHS charities together by walking 100 laps of his garden before his 100th birthday. Now, if you know anything about the British, anything about the United Kingdom, they love their gardens. They talk about their gardens. It doesn't matter if it's a little tiny little strip of dirt in a box. That's their garden. Anyway, so yes, the Glasgow man, not Glasgow or Glasgow. Well, actually, they say it's Glasgow. Glasgow. And the Lost History Channel emphasizes the fact that I make sure that I say it as Glasgow or Glasgow. Glasgow. So, speaking of Twitter, Twitter considers subscription fees to ensure revenue durability. Why? Because hundreds of thousands of people have either left, and as we saw the other day, they are purging both on Twitter and Facebook the socialists, the communists, Antifa, and all the rabble-rousers that were conveniently allowed to speak freely on these particular platforms because, of course, they were all part of the cabal, as Molly Ball says. Molly Ball says it herself. It is a cabal of people that were organized together. And the AFL-CIO got the absolute shaft. Bernie was thrown under the bus, but the AFL-CIO unions were completely dismantled, particularly when it comes to the Keystone Pipeline. So if anybody's going to be upset, oh boy, for being involved in the cabal, it's the AFL-CIO, goodness gracious. But nonetheless, guys, Twitter considers subscription fees to ensure revenue durability. Yeah, because they are completely collapsing. the Twitterazzi being the Twitterazzi within their sphere, within their bubble, of course, only talk to each other. And this is where they generated a lot of the news. But all of the agitators that were out there ensuring that Orange Man was bad and that everyone knew how bad Orange Man was, love Trump's hate, as it were, they were able to stay on the platforms. But now the establishment says, okay, you've accomplished what we wanted you to accomplish. We want you out of here now because you are against us. And they are. Antifa, for example, they are anti-establishment. They are anti-Biden. You're not hearing about it, though, outside of a few little articles here and there with their little no Biden signs and stuff that they carry around. I can't even show you the banners. But now Twitter and probably even the mainstream media are going to be very hurt by the fact that they no longer have Orange Man Bad as their target any longer. So it will be interesting to see as we continue to move forward, but in particular, the continuing political persecution of Donald J. Trump, who is no longer in office. They are shouting at a man who's not even in the building, but yet they're doing it. And I hope the American people are paying very close attention to this. But as we understand it, there just isn't enough people right now to be, or as we are hearing, there isn't enough people to actually carry out the impeachment. Of course, they do want to make sure that President Trump cannot run in 2024, but that is yet to be determined. We'll see how this turns out, because if in fact they are unable to keep President Trump from running in 2024, I believe that he will. I don't know. I mean, it's way too early to tell what President Trump will actually do, but of course he will always be able to go on the fact that the election was organized and arranged by a cabal, according to Molly Ball of Time magazine, so everyone understands. And we'll just see what happens from here. I hope very much that there is no particular prosecution of the president, or that they, obviously don't impeach him under those particular articles, whether it be impeachment and or under the 14th Amendment, Section 3. But nonetheless, guys, these are the headlines that I wanted to bring to you for this Friday vlog.
That's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you guys for the likes, the shares, and the comments. We completely went off the charts in the metrics and traffic department. It's been quite some time since we've had that high a level of traffic. So I want to thank all of you guys across Alt Tech and all the subscribers here on the channels for liking, sharing, and commenting. Gigantic success with last Friday's vlog. I want to thank all you guys for that. And of course, appearing right there on the screen, that would be for all of you who are watching this on YouTube. You can click on that channel icon to subscribe, along with notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel, as well as the Friday vlog. And I'll see all you guys across all social media behind that camera next week.